Picture yourself caught in the heart of a tempest. Chaos surrounds you. Towering waves crash, fierce winds howl, and an escape feels impossible. Amidst the whirlwind of worries, doubts, and fears about tomorrow, a gentle voice reminds you to pause and seek solace. Calm down, it says, ask me. Tomorrow, everything will be resolved by God. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the burdens of life? As if the answers elude you and problems close in around you? The uncertainty can steal your peace, but today is a reminder that you are not alone. There is a higher power still in control, one that is greater than any storm you face. No matter the size of your challenges or how dark the path may appear, if you reach out with faith, everything will be taken care of. You don't need to have all the answers, and you certainly don't have to fight your battles alone. Divine forces are already aligning in your favor. Take a deep breath, have faith, and offer your support to Him. Every challenge you face stands as a powerful reminder of God's steadfast faithfulness. Today, a message from the divine awaits you. Take a deep breath, reach out to Him, and all issues will be settled before you begin. I'm inviting you to share in the comments the phrase, "Lord, today I leave my worries in your hands." Amen. In doing so, you affirm your trust in Him and open your heart to the peace that only God can provide. It's time to begin the teaching journey. First and foremost, let go of any concerns about tomorrow. The divine presence is already in charge of all things. Every day presents its own set of challenges and burdens, yet it also offers unique blessings. Yet we find ourselves in a relentless battle with time, filled with apprehension about what lies ahead, worried about a future that remains unseen. We ponder the fate of our careers, our loved ones. We often find ourselves fretting over events that have yet to unfold, believing that our concerns might alter the outcome, but in reality, they do not. Worry does not extend our lives, resolve any issues, or bring us tranquility in the moment. Jesus taught us to let go of our worries about tomorrow, reminding us that the future is not ours to control. Picture the immense joy we could experience if we wholeheartedly believed that God is in control. Planning and responsibility are essential, but it's crucial to recognize that once we've done our part, the outcome is beyond our control. We can lay the foundation, but true growth comes from a higher power. We can outline our plans, yet the future remains unpredictable. And that's where belief plays a crucial role. Faith transcends mere belief in God. It invites us to find rest in Him. Even when the path ahead is unclear to us, He sees it all. While we fret over tomorrow, He has already addressed challenges we have yet to encounter. This constant worry drains our energy, burdening us with responsibilities that aren't ours to carry. We often conjure up dreadful scenarios that never materialize, fixating on problems that may never arise. Instead of placing our trust in God, who has everything under control, we become entangled in the what-ifs. In doing so, we overlook the present moment, missing out on peace, the small miracles of daily life, and the chance to witness God's faithfulness in the ordinary. We become so focused on the future that we forget the essence of truly living is found in the here and now. Jesus instilled in us the importance of trust. Consider this. The birds of the air neither sow nor reap, yet they are nourished by the Heavenly Father. If God cares for them, how much more will He care for you, who are far more valuable? In our human nature, we often crave control, seeking immediate answers and certainty about the future. When uncertainty arises, fear can overwhelm us. However, God has not called us to live in fear. He has called us to live in faith. He invites us to trust that even when we can't see the entire picture, He does. We are encouraged to rest in His will, understanding that even amidst uncertainty, He remains sovereign. Each day presents its own challenges, and our focus should be on what we can do today, rather than what we cannot control. Tomorrow is not the answer. When we fixate on what lies ahead, we lose sight of the present moment. Anxiety creeps in over what is yet to come, causing us to overlook the solutions that are already within our reach. We often overlook the importance of appreciating what we already possess. In the midst of our concerns about the unknown, embracing a life free from impatience becomes a profound act of faith. It's a declaration. I will do my part, but I entrust what lies beyond my control to you. Let go of what holds you back. Stop worrying about potential issues and embrace a life filled with gratitude. View each day as a chance to witness the divine at work. By embracing this perspective, anxiety diminishes as we recognize that our lives are guided by a loving presence that will always remain by our side. We can stroll confidently with tranquility, knowing that no matter what unfolds, He remains in command. How often have we spent entire days consumed by worries about the future? How often have we let anxiety steal the joy of the present moment? Embrace the present. Don't let the uncertainty of tomorrow hold you back. Embrace the invitation to trust and release your worries. Each day unfolds with the assurance that everything you need has already been arranged. As tomorrow arrives, you'll find that grace is sufficient, provisions are precise, and love will uphold you. So, let go of what lies ahead, live fully, trust deeply, and find your rest. The divine hand guides all things. That's all there is to it. Teach too, while navigating anxiety, pray and let God fill you with peace. At times, life can feel like an unending struggle. We encounter challenges that appear insurmountable, situations that engulf us, and adversaries that seem to outnumber our resolve. In these moments, we find ourselves questioning how we will navigate through it all and how we can possibly advance when it feels like the odds are stacked against us. In those moments, we hear the reassuring message that the Lord will fight for you, bringing you peace and calm. What this truly signifies is that there's no need for you to struggle. Regardless of the size of the challenge ahead, divine support is already in your corner. God is already fighting on your behalf. The people of Israel found themselves in an impossible situation, behind the Egyptian army ready to destroy them. Ahead, the Red Sea, an insurmountable limit. There was no escape in their desperation. They began to complain, to doubt, to fear. But God had a plan. God did not take them out of Egypt to let them perish in the desert. God did not release them, only to abandon them in the first difficulty. And it is what He hasn't brought you here to leave you alone in the midst of a storm. He hasn't sustained you until this moment to let the battle consume you. He fights for you even when you don't see Him, even when you don't feel it. The most amazing thing is that God didn't ask the Israelites to do something impossible. He didn't ask them to fight, to find a way out by their own means. He only asked them that they trusted that they would remain calm, because there are moments in life when our greatest weapon is not effort or struggle, but faith to believe that God is at work, even if we do not understand it. Faith to rest in His promise rather than allowing fear to take control. We must embrace the stillness that faith offers, even when every instinct urges us to flee or seek human answers. Today, God reassures us, remain calm, for I am fighting on your behalf. Finding calm can be a challenge. The urge to take control often overwhelms us. We feel the need to act, to resolve the situation independently. However, genuine trust in God shines through our willingness to wait on Him. True faith encompasses not just the belief that God can intervene, but also the assurance that He will act in His own time and manner, especially when we resist the temptation to rely solely on our own strength. We exhaust ourselves, we reach our limits, we feel the weight of frustration. Yet, when we surrender the struggle to God, He operates in ways beyond our wildest dreams. Often, He leads us to dead ends, intentionally guiding us to rely solely on Him. In those moments, we find ourselves without alternatives, where the only choice left is to place our trust in Him. Relying solely on human solutions means missing out on witnessing His power in action. We would never truly grasp what it means for Him to fight on our behalf. Yet, in moments of stillness and trust, when we let go of control and allow Him to take the lead, we see the once insurmountable challenges dissolve in the face of His might. This doesn't suggest that we should be inactive. Instead, it guides us in recognizing when to act and when to release control. Some battles belong to us, while others are meant for Him. The distinction between the two hinges on our capacity for trust. By relying solely on our own strength, we inadvertently signal a lack of faith in God's all-sufficient power. When we yield to God, relinquish the struggle, and keep our calm, we affirm our faith in His strength over our own. Considering that God has always emerged victorious, faced no defeat, and has never encountered an issue beyond our capacity, what compels us to follow? Yanisiev, music when you're feeling alone, remember to heed the advice given. Stay calm and trust. Avoid relying solely on your own strength. Allow Him to fight for you. True peace doesn't arrive only after the battle is won, but rather when we recognize that God is in control. Don't postpone your peace until every issue is resolved. Embrace it now, knowing that victory is already secured in His hands. No matter what unfolds, He remains ahead of you. Continue to stand strong for those who place their trust in Him. Release your fears, cease the struggle in your own power, and find rest in the profound promise that God fights for you. 3. In moments when you feel cornered, when it appears that the world is stacked against you, and when fear tries to convince you that escape is impossible, it's essential to stay composed and place your faith in God. Yet, there was a plan in place, a journey that remained hidden, just as you may find yourself navigating challenges that appear impossible to overcome. Debt can weigh you down, and illness can steal your tranquility. In moments when your strength seems to wane, remember that you are not required to have all the answers. You don't need to devise the perfect plan. Instead, what is asked of you is trust. Stay composed, for the struggle you face is not solely yours. It belongs to a higher purpose. Success isn't measured by the intensity of your struggle, but by the depth of your faith. A divine force stands by your side, working in ways that transcend your understanding and reach into realms beyond your imagination. Letting go of control can be challenging. It's difficult to trust that God is truly at work when His presence isn't immediately visible. We crave breakthroughs. We seek proof. We look for signs. Yet faith operates differently. Even when the world appears to be at a standstill, the most significant battle often rages within our own minds. Amidst our anxiety, doubt, and feelings of defeat, it's important to remember that God doesn't require our anguish. Instead, He seeks our calmness, for it is in that serene stillness that His true power is revealed. The Israelites were eager to flee. They were ready to battle. They were poised to raise their voices. Moses reassured them, saying, "The Lord will fight for you, and you will find peace." Then, at just the right moment, God parted the sea, not a moment too soon or too late, because God is always on time. It's possible you're feeling stuck right now, as if every avenue is closed off and progress seems impossible. However, rest assured that a path is being forged for you, even if it's not visible just yet. Finding hope and trust is essential, but how can one truly feel at peace when the issue remains unresolved? How can you find rest when the solution eludes you? It's essential to keep in mind that fight for you is not a person. This is not just a situation. Your effort is not the issue. It is the Almighty, the one who has never faced defeat, the one who conquered giants, shattered barriers, and brought the dead back to life. He stands in your corner with the same authority, the same power, and the same unwavering love. He remembers you. He hasn't abandoned you. He simply invites you to trust, to remain calm, to cease the struggle on your own, and to let Him take charge. When you rely solely on your own strength, you find yourself drained, emotionally spent, frustrated, and ultimately you may fall into despair. When you relinquish the struggle to God, you uncover a profound sense of rest and peace, even in the chaos. You realize that true victory isn't reliant on your actions, but rather on the divine work that God is already orchestrating, and His ways are always flawless. Even if it feels like there's no escape today, remember that a path has already been laid out for you. Even if today seems like a battle, remember that divine intervention is already at work, turning the tide in your favor. You don't have to possess every solution. Just keep in mind who's in your corner. Take that first step in faith, even if you can't see the end of the road. When hope seems lost and the odds are stacked against you, trust that God will part the seas, dismantle the barriers, and make the impossible possible. Regardless of the size of the battle, the strength of the enemy, or your own feelings of weakness, divine support is on your side. When that support is present, victory is guaranteed. It's not your battle, it's His. Release your fears and stop the worrying. Trust in His promise, for He fights for you and never loses. When you feel overwhelmed, surrender your burdens to God and find peace in that surrender. Some days, it feels as though the entire world rests heavily upon your shoulders. You rise with a mind cluttered by worries, a heart burdened with anguish, and a soul that longs for rest. Perhaps you've exhausted all options, you've searched for answers, you fought to remain resilient, but the reality is that you're at your breaking point. In that moment, Jesus invites you, saying, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and weighed down, and I'll help you find peace." He doesn't expect you to have all the solutions before reaching out. He doesn't require you to be flawless or to possess every answer. He simply invites you to show up just as you are. The challenge we face often lies in our tendency to hold onto our burdens, believing it's our duty to resolve everything. We worry that if we stop, something will go awry. We find ourselves tormented by unanswerable questions, unchangeable situations, and wounds that only divine intervention can heal. Yet, we were not meant to exist in a perpetual state of anxiety and fatigue. We were created to rely on a strength greater than our own. Resting in faith doesn't equate to passivity or ignoring our challenges. It's about trusting that there's a greater plan at work, even when it's not visible. It's time to release anxiety, fear, and despair, and let peace fill our hearts. This peace defies logic, allowing us to breathe and move forward with hope, even amidst the storm. Embrace that rest and let it transform your journey. Begin by releasing control, shedding worry, and dispelling fear. Picture yourself lugging around a suitcase brimming with stones. Each stone symbolizes a worry, a life, a challenge. You hold onto it tightly, dragging it along wherever you go. It burdens you, exhausts you, yet you refuse to release your grip. Imagine a divine presence, arms wide open, inviting you to release that heavy suitcase you've been holding onto. It's a choice only you can make. He won't take it from you against your will. But when you finally decide to let go, a wave of relief washes over you, not because the issue vanishes, but because you're no longer shouldering the burden alone. It's now cradled in the hands of the divine. Jesus chose the word loaded because He understood that life burdens us with weights we weren't meant to bear. However, the essence lies in the latter part of the verse, "And I will give you rest." The verse clearly states, "I will give you rest," a promise that relies not on your circumstances, but on your faithfulness, without any hints of maybe, or if you try hard enough. In the hustle of life, whether in relationships or material achievements, you may find that none of it truly fills the emptiness or lightens the heavy load you bear within. Only a higher power can offer you genuine rest, a peace that transcends your circumstances and is rooted in the presence beside you during your struggles. Perhaps you've been weighed down by past pains, unshakable regrets, or worries that rob you of your tranquility. Each night, as you lay down, your mind races with thoughts that keep you awake. But today, a message resonates. Surrender it all. Not because your pain is overlooked, but because you are reminded that you don't have to shoulder it alone. You were never meant to carry that burden by yourself. When you choose to place your trust in God and find rest in Him, everything transforms. This doesn't mean that challenges vanish instantly, but your viewpoint shifts. You begin to perceive every circumstance through the lens of faith rather than fear. You realize that God has never lost a battle, and if He is by your side, there's no reason to carry anxiety. What troubles you today is already in His care. What appears chaotic is being organized by Him. The tears you shed today will be used for your growth. Each day presents a chance to lay your burdens at His feet. Don't wait until you feel completely overwhelmed to seek His rest. Don't let despair drive you to Him. Reach out now and say, "Lord, I can't bear this any longer, but "I trust you." When you do, you will experience His peace, His love, and His presence surrounding you. In His hands, even the heaviest burdens become light, and in His love, even the darkest nights are illuminated. Remember, God has wonderful plans for you. Have faith in His flawless plan. There are moments when life strikes with such force that you question whether there is truly a meaning behind all that you experience. You've put in the effort, you've given it your all, yet it feels like nothing has changed or perhaps even deteriorated. It may seem like you're taking one step forward only to fall back two, yet amidst the struggle, there's a reassuring message. I know the plans I have for you, plans filled with hope and a future that aligns with your deepest expectations. He doesn't say, perhaps. He doesn't say, if you are perfect. He assures you that He knows, for the plan for your life is already laid out, even if it's not visible to you at this moment. Rest assured, you are not overlooked. Your existence is filled with purpose. You are not aimlessly wandering through life. There is a thoughtful plan in place, one that is good and perfect, even when it feels beyond your comprehension. Did it turn out as you envisioned? This is the moment when faith truly faces its greatest challenge. That's the moment when you are called to have faith that every detail is being skillfully arranged by a higher power. In the midst of chaos, one of the greatest challenges of trusting in a higher plan is the waiting. We crave immediate answers, quick fixes, and instant results. Yet, the truth is that the timing is not ours to dictate. While we perceive only a fragment of the journey, there is a grand design at play that unfolds in its own time. Picture an embroidered tapestry viewed from below. It appears chaotic with intertwined threads and colors that clash. Yet, from above, the design reveals its stunning beauty and flawless composition. That's a divine influence shaping your journey. What feels insignificant today will eventually reveal itself as a piece of something truly remarkable. However, having faith in God's plan doesn't guarantee a smooth journey. There will be moments of challenge. There will be periods when it seems like everything is unraveling. God never guaranteed that the journey would be easy, but He assured you of His presence every step of the way. His aim is to transform challenges into opportunities that empower you to grow stronger, gain wisdom, and become better equipped for His purpose. Sometimes what appears to be a setback is merely a moment of preparation. What you perceive as a loss is actually a way for a higher power to provide you with something greater. Imagine Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers and cast into the depths of slavery, facing the harsh reality of unjust imprisonment. Overlooked by those who know his tale, what appeared to be a disaster was, in fact, a masterful orchestration by a higher power guiding every detail to its destined outcome. When the moment arrived, Joseph was not just restored. He was elevated to a position of power that enabled him to save both his family and an entire nation. What appeared to be a disaster was, in fact, a crucial element of a flawless strategy. That's the reality of your life. What feels like a setback today, what causes you pain today, impacts you deeply. Even if today's events seem unclear, they will ultimately stand as proof of how you were led to a brighter future. Absolutely, continue on your path, even when the doors appear to be shut. Continue to have faith, for there is a greater plan at work. The vision ahead is far more expansive than what you can see. Sometimes when doors close, it's not to cause you pain, but to guide you towards something better. Those missed opportunities, ended relationships, and untraveled paths all serve a purpose. In time, you will come to realize that these moments were protective measures steering you away from what wasn't meant for you. The possibilities that lie ahead are beyond your current understanding. Don't let doubt creep in. Remember that you are not forgotten. You are not abandoned in your struggles. There is a promise of peace and hope waiting for you. He is getting ready to create something that will surpass his wildest dreams. His strategy focuses on providing you with what you truly require, rather than merely what you believe is best. What will genuinely lead you to the destination he has envisioned for you. When you find yourself on the brink of despair or considering giving up, hold on to this truth. God is actively working behind the scenes. Even when you can't see it, feel it, or notice any changes, His plan is unfolding perfectly. Continue to trust and follow the path laid out for you. When the moment arrives and everything aligns, you'll reflect on your journey and realize that every tear, every moment of waiting, and every challenge served a purpose. You'll come to see that the plans in store for you were far greater than you could have imagined, imparting valuable lessons along the way. With God, all things are possible. Share your challenge with Him and have faith in His strength. What appears to be an insurmountable challenge today, what feels like it will never shift, what has robbed you of rest and sapped your energy has already been resolved by God. Perhaps you've been grappling with the same issue for years, exploring every avenue, seeking solutions, knocking on doors that remain closed, all while tuning into God's guidance. Nothing is beyond reach. There is no diagnosis He cannot turn around. There is no He possesses the ability to mend every broken heart. His strength knows no bounds, His touch remains unwavering, and His love is infinite. We exhaust ourselves in the pursuit of solutions, relying on our own strength, strategies, and connections. Yet when all efforts fail and we find ourselves at a breaking point, we look up and come to a profound realization. Our dependence has always been on Him, God. He isn't asking you to fix your life. He simply wants to lighten the burden you bear. He invites you to release the weight you carry and place your faith in His strength. But the true question remains, do you genuinely believe He can deliver? Consider the tale of Abraham and Sarah, an elderly couple who, by all human standards, were unable to have children. Every aspect of their logic, their physical condition, and their life experiences screamed impossibility, yet God had a different message altogether. Abraham received a divine promise that he would become the father of countless descendants. Even with the delay in delivering on the promise, the power of God's word remains unwavering and always bears fruit. Regardless of how lifeless the dream appears or how barren the circumstances feel, there is a promise from God that it will come to fruition. The crucial element, however, is patience. We hold on to the impossible, even as time stretches on and the signs remain elusive. Many find themselves at a crossroads, losing faith in the waiting. Yet, what may seem like delay to us is often divine preparation. God was not late with Abraham, nor with Moses when He parted the Red Sea. He was not late with Joseph, bringing him from prison to govern. And He is not late with you. Perhaps you've been praying for years, feeling unheard. But take heart, He is already at work in ways you may not comprehend today. Tomorrow, you will see it unfold. With clarity, you will witness the extraordinary. When He acts, what once seemed impossible turns into undeniable proof. The illness that felt like a conclusion, the financial struggle that appeared insurmountable, the fractured relationship, all of these can be reshaped into something miraculous. All it takes is your belief. The adversary aims to convince you that time has run out, that the circumstances are beyond repair, that escape is impossible. Yet, the voice of the divine resonates more powerfully, and His message is unmistakably clear. There's no such thing as impossible, regardless of the size of the challenge, regardless of the naysayers, the doctor's opinions, the bank's policies, or the situation at hand. It can still happen. God holds the final say. Yet true faith transcends mere belief. It manifests in action. It's about stepping onto the water when every instinct warns you of failure. It's facing your giants like David, armed with nothing but a stone and unwavering confidence in God's presence. It's lifting your gaze like Elijah, trusting that even in a cloudless sky, rain is on the horizon. Faith isn't anchored in what's visible, it's rooted in God's promises. Don't let fear immobilize you. Don't allow doubt to rob you of your miracle. Refuse to be confined by what appears possible through human eyes. God operates beyond the ordinary. He transcends logic, defies probabilities, and requires no permission. All He seeks is a heart that fosters unwavering faith and a trust that declares, I may not know how or when, but I believe God will act. release your burdens, surrender your challenges, cease the search for solutions where none exist, and shift your focus from the how to the essence of who He is. He has opened seas, He has healed the sick, He has raised the dead, He has made the impossible come true. The only thing He asks of you is that you believe, that you hope, that you do not faint. Because when you least expect it, when it seems that there are no more options, when everything indicates that there is no way out, God will appear. And when He appears, everything changes, the impossible becomes possible, the dead comes to life, the broken is restored. Only trust, because His power, He is infinite, and His love for you is eternal. Teaching 7 God cares for you and will supply all your needs no matter what you lack today. It does not matter if you look at your life and see scarcity, if you wonder how are you going to pay the bills, if you feel that time is moving forward and you have not yet received what you have been waiting for. God takes care of you. He is not a distant God who watches from far away, but a Father who knows your every need, even those you haven't yet expressed. Before you opened your mouth in prayer, He already knew what you needed. Before you felt the worry in your heart, He already had the answer. Maybe you felt lonely, forgotten, as if God wasn't listening, but Philippians chapter 4 reminds us of something powerful. My God will supply all that you lack according to His riches in glory in Christ Jesus. He does not say part of what you lack. He does not say only if you deserve it, or only if you have made everything perfect. He says everything, and when God promises something, He fulfills it. His faithfulness does not depend on your circumstances or what you can see or what others say. God is faithful because it is His nature. Sometimes we worry because we do not understand how it goes to happen. We want to see signs. We want everything to make sense before we trust. But God does not work according to our logic. He does not need you to see the solution before receiving His provision. Remember Elijah when God sent him to the brook of Koroth in the middle of drought when there was no food. God made the ravens bring him bread and meat every day. It makes sense, no, but God does not operate in human logic, but in His supernatural power. And if God used ravens to feed His servant, you think He can't provide for you. Maybe you look around and you only see a lack of opportunity, a lack of open doors, a lack of resources. But don't look at scarcity. Look at the God who has all abundance, because provision doesn't depend on the economy. It doesn't depend on who's in government. It's not dependent on your boss. It's not dependent on whether there is crisis in the world. Provision comes from God, and He has no limits. He is not in bankruptcy. His glory is infinite, and His goodness is not exhausted. The problem is that many times we want to control how God should provide. We want Him to do it in a certain way at a certain time through certain people. But God is creative. His provision can come in ways you can't even imagine. It can open a door that you hadn't even considered. He can use someone you never thought would help you. He can surprise you with something better than what you were hoping for. The key is to trust, to rest in His promise, and to know that He never leaves His children helpless. Jesus said it clearly in Matthew chapter 6. Behold, the birds of the air that do not sow or reap or gather into barns, and your heavenly Father feeds them. You are not worthy. You much more than they do. If God cares for the birds, if He dresses the lilies of the field with a beauty that not even Solomon in his splendor could equal, you think He will not take care of you. You think He is not seeing your tears, your worries. You need, of course, He sees it. And if His eye is on the sparrow, how much more on you, who are His beloved Son? But here is something important. The provision, God's peace, is not only material. Sometimes we need peace, and He gives it to us. Sometimes what we lack most is direction, and He guides us. Other times we need strength because we are tired of fighting, and He renews us. His provision is integral because He knows exactly what we need beyond what we ask. Perhaps you feel that the answer does not come, that you have prayed, that you have cried out, that you have waited, and still you don't see anything. But listen to this. God is never late. Maybe the blessing you hope for hasn't come because it's on its way, and it's not yet the perfect time. Or maybe God is working first in your heart before He gives you what you ask for. That when you receive it, you know how to administer it. Do not despair in waiting. Do not doubt in the darkness what God promised you in the light. If He said that He will supply, He will supply. There is no doubt in His word. Today, I want to remind you that you are not alone. You are not an orphan. You are not abandoned. You have a heavenly Father who takes care of you, who knows every detail of your life, and who is working even when you cannot see him. Know no matter how great the need, God is greater. No matter how difficult the situation may seem, he has the solution. So rest in his promise. He has been faithful before and will be once again. Trust, because his provision is already on the way. Teaching 8:0, if you cry out to God in faith, he will answer you with power. There are times in life when you feel lost, without answers, without direction. You walk with uncertainty. You wonder if God hears you, if he sees what you are going through. But his word is clara. Cry out to me, and I will answer you and teach you great and hidden things that you do not know. He does not say that maybe he will answer. He does not say that you will. Only if you have done everything perfect does he say that he will. God is not a God of silence. He is a God who responds, a God who reveals himself to those who seek him with faith. Sometimes we get used to solving everything with our own strength. We try to find solutions. We seek advice here and there. We get anxious. We get frustrated. But God tells us, cry out to me not as an option, but not as a last resort when everything is going on. The rest fails, but as the first step, as the real answer to any situation, because when you cry out, you're not throwing words to the wind, you're addressing a God who hears, who sees that he moves in favor of his children. Perhaps you've cried out before and you feel that nothing happened. You wonder why he doesn't answer, but I want to tell you something. God always answers, only he doesn't always do it the way he does. Sometimes we wait for it. Its answer is immediate. Other times it is a process. Sometimes it responds with a yes, sometimes with a no, and sometimes with a wait because I have something better. But what is certain is that when you cry out with faith, something in the spiritual world moves. You may not yet see the change with your eyes, but that does not mean that it is not happening. God works in the invisible before manifesting it. When God says he will show us great and hidden things, it means that there are dimensions of his power that you have not yet seen. There are answers that you cannot imagine. There are paths that you have not even considered. But he wants to reveal those things to you. He wants to open doors for you that you never thought would open. He wants to teach you that his power has no limits, that his love has no end, that his will for your life is better than possible, that you could have planned for yourself. But to see if there is a requirement February you cannot cry out to God and at the same time doubt that he can do something, you cannot pray and then continue to worry as if God were not able to intervene. Faith is not just saying that you believe. It is resting in the certainty that he is already working. It is praying with conviction, with the confidence that it does not matter how long it takes, the answer will come at the perfect time. Look at the story of Hannah, Samuel's mother. She cried out in despair with tears, with all her being, and for a while it seemed that God did not answer. But when she least expected it, her miracle came. Not only did she have a son, but that son was Samuel, one of the greatest prophets in the history of Israel, because when God answers, they make him great. Noda, Crumbs does not give half answers. He gives great and hidden things, things that you never imagined. No matter what situation you are facing today, no matter how impossible it may seem, God is still the same one who parted the Red Sea, the same one who raised Lazarus, the same one who gave sight to the blind, the same one who multiplied the loaves and fishes. And if he did it before, the question can ask him again. It's not if God can, the question is if you believe enough to cry out and wait in him. Maybe you've been waiting for an answer for a long time and you feel that heaven is silent. But I assure you that God is working. Maybe his answer comes in a different way than you expect. Maybe he's molding your character before giving you what you ask for. Maybe he's teaching you to trust him more. But know you surrender. Keep crying, keep believing. His word never comes back empty when you cry out to God. With faith, not only does your situation change, it changes your heart. It makes you stronger, more patient, more aware of your presence. It teaches you to depend on him, to wait in his time, to recognize his voice in the midst of the noise. And when the answer comes, when you see with your own eyes what he has done, you will understand that each prayer, every tear, every cry was worth it. So today, instead of worrying, cry out instead of doubting, trust instead of giving up, keep believing God hears you, God sees you, and God will answer. He never fails. Teaching new trust in God, and don't lean on your own logic. He will straighten your ways. Sometimes we think we have everything under control. We make plans, we make decisions, we trust our intelligence, in our experience, in our ability to solve problems. But when things don't go as we expected, when life surprises us with unexpected obstacles, that's when we realize that our logic, no matter how developed it is, has limits, and it is. in those moments when God reminds us, "Don't lean on your own prudence, trust me because only I can straighten your path." Trust in God is not just a nice thought or a phrase. Motivating is a decision, an act of surrender, a leap of faith. It is telling God, "Lord, I don't understand what's going on, I don't see the way out, but I choose to trust you. I know that you see what I don't see, that you know what I don't know, and that your plans are better than mine." When you learn to trust God in this way, anxiety dissolves, fear loses its power, and you begin to experience the peace that only He can give. How many times have we clung to our own ideas, to our way of doing things, only to realize later that it was not the right path? Perhaps you made a decision based on your own understanding and then saw that it was not the best. Perhaps you trusted someone who ended up betraying me. He sees what we do not see, and if we let Him guide our steps, we will avoid many stumbling blocks. God straightens paths. Maybe today you feel that you are entangled in a situation from which you do not know how to get out. Perhaps you made a bad decision in the past, and now you are facing the consequences. But the good news is that God can do something new. He can take even your mistakes and use them for good, can open doors that you thought closed, align circumstances in ways that you never imagined, taking you on paths that you didn't even know that existed. His power has no limits, but it requires one thing. Trusting God means letting go of control, and that's difficult because we all like to feel that we are in control of our life, but the truth is that we never really did. Only He has authority over every detail of our existence, and when we choose to recognize Him in our ways, when we give Him first place, when we ask Him for direction, before then He acts. He straightens what is crooked, illuminates what is dark, opens the sea where we only saw a wall of water. Sometimes trusting God leads us to make decisions that do not make sense according to human logic. Noah built an ark when there were not even signs of rain. Abraham left his land without knowing where he was going. Moses raised his rod before the Red Sea instead to flee in terror. Each of them trusted God before their own logic, and God did the impossible. Because when you decide to trust God, He takes care of doing what you can't do. God not only wants to bless you, He wants to guide you. He doesn't just want to answer your prayers, He wants to teach you to walk in His will. But if you continue to lean on your own reasoning, if you keep making decisions without consulting Him, if only He wants to do it, He wants to do it. You ask for help when things go wrong, then you're missing out on the true power of a life guided by Him. God wants to straighten your path, but He needs you to hand over control. He wants to do something big in your life, but He can't do it if you keep clinging to your own logic. Today it's time to let go. Let go of fear. Let go of doubt. Let go of the need to understand everything. Give your plans to God and tell Him, "Lord, even if I don't understand, I trust you. Even if I don't see the way out, I know you have it. Even though my mind tells me this doesn't make sense, I know you know what you're doing." And when you do this, when you stop leaning on your own prudence and start trusting Him completely, you'll see everything start to line up. You'll see the pieces of the puzzle that didn't fit together start to take shape. You'll see God in His infinite love and wisdom straightens out what seemed crooked and takes you exactly where you should be. Trust, rest, and let God do what only He can do. Teaching 10, even if you don't see the answer today, God is working on your behalf. There are times in life when it seems that God is silent. You pray for direction, you wait for sign, but nothing changes. The days, the weeks, the months, and the days go by. The months, and you're still in the same situation. Despair whispers to you that God has forgotten about you, that maybe your prayer wasn't heard, that maybe there's just no answer. But what you don't see, what your limited mind can't comprehend, is that God is at work even when everything seems to be stagnant. God is not a God of improvisation. He doesn't act on impulse or react hastily. He works accurately with a purpose, with a strategy that goes beyond what you can imagine. Since ancient times, no one has seen a God like Him who works on behalf of those who hope in Him. But here is the key. Wait, how many times have you stopped trusting because you did not see immediate results? How many times have you despaired because you felt that God was taking too long to answer? The problem is not that God is not working, but that many times you have not been able to answer the problem. Sometimes we are not able to see it. We become so focused on our immediate need that we lose sight of the big picture. We believe that God is not doing anything, when in fact He is moving pieces in the invisible, preparing everything for the exact moment when His will is manifested. His work is not always evident to our eyes, but that does not mean that it is not happening. Look at the story of Joseph. He spent years in prison, unjustly years, being forgotten years, without a clear sign that God was doing something for him. But at the perfect moment, God lifted him up, positioned him, and showed him that every suffering had a purpose. What seemed like a time of waiting was actually a time of preparation, and that same thing may be happening in your life now. If today you feel that God is not answering, I want to tell you something. He is working, his hand is in motion. Even when you don't see him, he is preparing the ground. Aligning circumstances, working in people's hearts will be key in your process. What today seems like a desert, tomorrow will be the testimony of their faithfulness. What today you see as an endless trial, tomorrow will be the story you will tell to inspire others. The problem is that many times we want to see, to believe, we want visible proof that God is acting before we trust completely. But God calls us to do the opposite. Believe first, trust first, and then see his glory manifest. Faith is the certainty of what is expected, the conviction of what is not. See, you don't need to see with your physical eyes what God is doing to know that his hand is at work. Imagine a sower, he plants the seed, and for a while he sees nothing. There are no shoots, there are no signs of life, only soil. But that does not mean that nothing is happening below the surface. In the occult, the seed is breaking, taking root, preparing to come to light at the right time. This is how God works in your life. Even if today you only see dry land, even if it seems that there is no progress, below the surface there is something growing, something taking shape, and when the time comes you will see the harvest. Don't let impatience rob you of your confidence. Don't let the apparent silence makes you doubt the power of God. He is working on something much greater than you can imagine. His plan for you is perfect, his timing is exact, and his answer will come at the right time. It will not be before or after, but at the precise moment in which he has determined what is best for you. While you wait, do not be filled with anxiety. Use this time to strengthen your faith, to prepare for what's coming, because when the answer comes, when you see with your own eyes what God has been doing all this time, you'll understand that his work never stopped, that even in the darkest days, even when you thought you were alone, he was fighting for you, guiding every detail, making sure that everything fit into the perfect plan he has for your life. So trust not on what he does. What do you see but in what you know about God? He is faithful, he has never failed, and will not fail you. Now wait on him, because what is coming will be much greater than you ever imagined. Teaching 11 God is never late. His time is perfect. Sometimes you look at the clock and feel that time escapes you. The prayers you made months, even years ago, they remain unanswered. You look at your life and it seems that nothing is moving forward. You wonder if God is really listening, if he really has a plan, or if he has simply forgotten about you. But let me tell you something, God is never late. His time is perfect. Although sometimes to seem like he is taking longer than you expected, we live in a constant race against time. We want quick answers, immediate solutions, instant changes, but God does not work under our watch. He does not move according to our impatience, but according to his infinite wisdom. He knows the exact moment in which each piece must fit, the precise minute in which his work must be manifested. It is not that God has forgotten your request. It is that he is waiting for the right time to answer you. Look at Abraham's life. God promised him that he would be the father of a great nation, but the years passed and the promise seemed to be every moment. It was impossible to see that it was too late, but for God it is never too late. In perfect time, when there was no longer any way for the miracle to be attributed to themselves, God kept his word, and Sarah gave birth to Isaac. Did not come before or after, but exactly when it should have come. We despair when we do not see changes, but what we do not understand is that God uses waiting times to prepare us. Many times we want the blessing, but we are not yet ready to receive it. We want the door open, but our character still needs to be molded. We want our problem solved. But God wants to work on our faith first. It is not just about what we expect, but about who we are converting as we wait for God's time. He also protects. Sometimes we ask for things that if they came to us in the wrong time would do us more harm than good. We want that job, that relationship, that opportunity, without realizing that we are not ready to handle it. But God does know. He sees beyond what we see and takes care of ourselves. He keeps us from doors that stop in good, but that in reality would take us away from his purpose. Every apparent delay has a divine purpose. Perhaps today you do not understand it, but the day will come when you look back and see how God orchestrates every detail. You will Realize that if you had received that blessing before, you would not have valued it. That if that situation had changed in your time and not in God's, you would not have learned the lessons you needed. That if that door had opened when you wanted you to, you would have missed something much better that God had prepared for you. The beautiful of trusting in God's timing is that it frees you from anxiety. You stop worrying about what hasn't happened, and you begin to rest in the certainty that God is in control. His clock doesn't fail. His agenda doesn't have errors. You don't have to manipulate circumstances or force things. You just have to trust that what he promised will be fulfilled at the perfect time. Think of Jesus. Lazarus had died, and his family was devastated. They sent a message to Jesus in time to arrive before it was too late, but Jesus did not arrive when they expected. He arrived 4 days after Lazarus was in the tomb. For everyone, it was too late, but for God, it was the exact moment to manifest his glory. What seemed like a delay was actually an opportunity to show that his pod goes beyond any human limit. Not only healed Lazarus, but resurrected him, demonstrating that it is never too late when God is on the scene. So it is in your life. You may feel that time is running out, that waiting becomes eternal, that the promise seems far away, but God is not done with you. He has not forgotten you. He is preparing something beautiful, something that will be perfect in his time. And when it arrives, you will understand that it was worth every second of waiting. Teaching 12 in moments of trial. Prayer is your greatest strength. When everything around you seems to crumble, when doors close and uncertainty surrounds you, there is a powerful key that changes everything. Prayer is not just words to the wind. It is not a simple religious habit. It is the direct connection with the God who can do everything in moments of try it. Prayer is your refuge, your shield, your unwavering strength. Praying without ceasing does not mean repeating meaningless, empty phrases, but living in constant communion with God is knowing that no matter the situation, you can come to him anytime and anywhere. It is opening your heart and speaking with confidence, because you know that he hears you, understands you, and has the power to respond. There is no burden too heavy. There is no pain too deep that cannot be brought into the presence of God. Look at the life of Jesus. Being the Son of God, he prayed constantly before making important decisions, before facing trials. Before any miracle, Jesus prayed the night before his sacrifice in the Garden of Gethsemane. In the moment of greatest anguish, what he did, he prayed, fell to his knees, and cried out to the Father with such intensity that his sweat was converted in drops of blood. And what happened? He received strength. He left that place ready to face the cross, not with fear, but with the certainty that God's plan would be fulfilled. When you pray, something changes in you. Perhaps the circumstances will remain the same for a while, but inside you there is a profound change. Anxiety dissipates, fear recedes, God's peace fills every empty space of your heart. Is not an instant magic, is the power of God's presence acting deep within your being. Praying gives you the clarity you need when everything seems confusing. It reminds you that you're not alone, that God is with you in the midst of the storm. Trials in life are inevitable. They come without warning. They hit hard. They make you doubt. They make you feel weak. But prayer strengthens you in those moments. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to prostrate yourself before God and surrender everything to him. There are battles that are not won with human effort, but on your knees. There are doors that are not opened with influence or money, but with sincere prayer. There are chains that are only broken when you cry out with faith to the God who does the impossible. How many times do we despair trying to solve everything with our strength? We worry, we anguish, we look for solutions everywhere but in the presence of God. But when we finally bend our knees and say, Lord, I can't do it anymore, then he comes into the picture, then his peace floods our soul. And we begin to see how he works in ways we never imagined. Prayer is not an option. It is a necessity. It is as vital as breathing, as essential as the beat of your heart. Without prayer, the soul weakens, faith cools down, hope is extinguished. But when you pray, when you really seek God with all your heart, his presence surrounds you, his voice guides you, his love sustains you, and best of all is that God always answers. Sometimes he says yes, other times he says wait. And sometimes he says, I have something better for you, but he never leaves you without an answer. If today you are in the middle of a trial, if you feel that you can't take it anymore, no waste time complaining or fearing, run into God's presence, cry out to him in faith. Tell him all that you carry within. You don't need elaborate words, you just need a heart. But God doesn't ignore genuine prayer. He listens, he answers, and in his perfect timing, you will see how his power is manifested in your life. Teaching 13, when you pray in faith, God moves mountains in your favor. When you pray in faith, heaven, the impossible becomes possible, and the doors that seem closed begin to open. God is not indifferent to the prayer of a heart that believes that it clings to its promises and trusts in its power. It is not a weak, wavering faith that doubts at the first obstacle, but a firm faith that knows that God is in control, even though everything around it seems to say otherwise. Jesus himself, he said that everything we ask for in prayer, if we believe it, we will receive it. He did not say some things, or only if the circumstances are favorable, but everything. But here is the key. Believing is not only asking for the sake of asking, but praying with the certainty that God is faithful and his answer will come at the perfect time. Sometimes we despair because we want to see immediate results, but true faith knows how to wait, knows how to trust, knows that God doesn't fail. Look at the Bible. How the prayer of faith changed destinies. Moses cried out and the sea parted. Joshua prayed and the sun stood still. Elijah prayed and fire came down from heaven. Daniel cried out and the lions shut their mouths. It wasn't their strength, it wasn't their wisdom. It was their faith in God that made miracles happen, and the God who answered at that time is the same God who responds today. He has not changed. His power is still the same. How many times do we face mountains that seem impossible to move? Financial problems, diseases, broken relationships, dreams that seem unattainable. Human logic tells us that there is no solution, that there is no longer hope. But when our gaze and we pray with faith, those mountains begin to move, not because we have power in ourselves, but because God fights for us, which sometimes it prevents us from seeing miracles. It's not the lack of opportunities, but the lack of faith. We doubt, we cling to fear, we think about all the negative scenarios instead of believing in what God can do. But Jesus was sure, if you have faith like a mustard seed, you can tell the mountain to move and it will be seen. It doesn't matter the size of your faith, but who you're putting your trust in. A mustard seed is small, but in God's hands, it is enough to loose the power of heaven. God asks you to solve everything for yourself. He does not ask you to carry the weight of problems or find the perfect solution. He only asks you to believe, to trust him, to pray without hesitation, to hold fast to his word, and declare that his will is perfect. The answer will be fast. Other times it will take time. But if you believe, you will see his glory manifest in your life. There are battles that are not won with logic or human strategies. There are doors that are not opened with influence or intelligence. With money, there are problems that are not solved with effort or intelligence, but all that is submitted when you pray with faith, when you surrender before God and give him control. He is the God who makes paths in the future, the desert that turns pain into testimony, that uses what seemed like a failure to bring a victory. If you face a mountain in your life today, don't focus on its size, focus on the greatness of God. Don't let yourself be dominated by fear. Declare with faith that God is already at work. Pray, believe. Pray with the certainty that his answer will come, no matter how long it takes. What matters is Queen. Heaven is already done. Keep praying, keep believing, keep trusting, because when you pray with faith, God moves mountains in your favor. Teaching 14, don't fear for tomorrow. God already has it in his hands. Don't fear, because God has already prepared the way. While the world is filled with uncertainty, while the worries of tomorrow try to steal peace from you, there is an unshakable truth. God is with you. There is nothing to fear. When the creator of the universe holds your life in his hands, he is the one who strengthens you, who guides you, and who has absolute control of everything that is to come. How many times do we find ourselves worried about what is to come? We think about the future, about what could go wrong, about problems that have not even come yet. You torment us with thoughts of failure, with doubts about what we will do if something does not turn out as it did. We plan, but God tells us clearly, do not be afraid. Not because the world has no difficulties, but because he is above them all. Not because everything will always turn out as we expect, but because his plan is greater, better, and more perfect than we can imagine. Look how God has been faithful throughout history. When Moses stood in front of the Red Sea, the people of Israel trembled with fear before the Lord. They were the sea behind them. The Egyptian army was no way out. There was no hope. But God already had everything ready at the right time. The waters opened up and an impossible path appeared before their eyes. God already had the solution before they even knew what the problem was, and that's how it is in your life. You may not see the way out today, but that doesn't mean God doesn't have it ready. The enemy wants to fill you with anxiety. He wants you to live tied to the fear of tomorrow, to focus on what might go wrong instead of trusting in what God has already promised, but on what God has said. And he has said he will be with you, that he will strengthen you, that he will not leave you. Only when you walk with that certainty, fear loses its the future ceases to be a threat and becomes an opportunity to see the glory of God manifest. The fear of tomorrow paralyzes us, makes us doubt our decisions, robs us of peace, prevents us from enjoying the present. But when you understand that God has already gone before you, that he has already prepared every detail, you can breathe deeply and rest in his will. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to trust that God never makes mistakes and that his timing is perfect. How many times have you gone through situations where you thought there was no solution, that the problem was too big, that the pain was too strong, and yet here you are. God held you, strengthened you, took you by the hand when you thought you couldn't go on, and if he did it before, he will do it again. If he took you out of trials in the past, he will also do it in the future. He does not change. His love is eternal. His fidelity is unbreakable. The problem is not tomorrow. The problem is how you look at it. If you look at it from fear, you will always see difficulties, but if you look at it from faith, you will see opportunities for God to show his power. Will see miracles where others see impossible. You will see paths where others only see walls, because when you see it, you will see ways where others only see walls, because when you see it, you will see difficulties where others see it. You trust in God. You no longer walk with uncertainty. You walk with the certainty that every step is guided by his hand. Today is the time to let go of fear. Don't keep carrying an anguish that does not belong to you. Do not allow thoughts of doubt to dominate your heart. Give tomorrow to God and rest in his promise. He not only knows what is coming, he has designed it for your good. Nothing escapes from his control. Nothing takes him by surprise. Every detail of your life is in his hands, and in his hands, you are sure God already has tomorrow under control. What worries you today, he has already solved. What you do not understand today, tomorrow will be testimony of his faithfulness. So let go of fear. Stop fighting with anxieties that do not belong to you and trust, because the same God who sustains the universe also sustains your life. And if he says, do not be afraid, because I am with you, then there is nothing to fear. Before I finish, I want to invite you once again to write in the comments, Lord, today I leave my worries in your hands. Amen. Declare it with faith and allow God to take control if this message spoke to your heart, and subscribe to continue receiving words of strength and hope. Share this video with someone who I need it. And remember, God is in control and the best is yet to come. Blessings.